is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
Hello and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker and I am your host for this show. And I'm always looking for people to give us new perspectives, new tools, and new ways to approach how we show up for our time. Because at the end of the day, it's not just what we do. We need good tips and strategies on making sure we're doing the right things, but it's also how we show up for our time. So I'm excited today to have Nash Ahmed with us. He's the founder and CEO of Undock, and he's a serial telecom executive and the founder of Undock, which is an artificial intelligence enabling meeting platform built for the future of work. So we're going to see how that fits in and how that differentiates. And I'm excited because I'm a techie kind of person in the way that I love innovation and new technology and seeing where we should be one step ahead. So I think that's what you're bringing us, Nash. Is that right?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me, Penny.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Nash, tell us your story. Like, why are you passionate about the future of booking meetings? Doesn't sound telecom-y to me if you come from telecoms.
No. So we got into meetings accidentally. I started Undock a couple years back, and I was trying to solve my issue with availability in a general sense. Mainly, I was running a few companies at the same time, and they were all small businesses. So like I was the bottleneck for everything. So everyone demanded my time.
Welcome to entrepreneurship,
yes,
right?
Yes. Then multiply it by 3, right? It was a 5-person company. There was like 18-person company.
Right.
Another company that I started that went from like 3 to like 21 as well very quickly. But my employees and associates getting time with me was very, very difficult. It was a complaint they always had. I labeled this earlier this year, or the term there's a label for, it's called the absentee founder. So like you're there, you're always working, but nobody really feels like they can talk to you, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I was in the thick of that and it really reached a peak. So earlier in that year, I was running a project and I was getting upwards of 150 phone calls inbound per day. And that's when I started thinking about like, there's got to be a better way for these 150 calls to happen where I'm not like getting 17 of them at once and then a half hour worth, no phone calls, et cetera. But later in the year, I'm sitting in my office and I'm on a call and I have another call holding, which is a typical situation. And then there was a line of employees outside of my door. Now, when you start to see that, you're like, okay, you've got a process problem, efficiency problem. I'm wasting their time. Everyone's in various queues just waiting to talk to me. It's like, I need to figure that out. I need to fix that real time situation. So
and real fast, right? Because that's a lot of money being thrown out the window.
Yes. And I started to build a product. It was supposed to be a physical product within my office. I called it the Presence Pod. And it was going to show my employees when it was a good time to come by my office instead of just waiting by the door. Right? They could
so it kind of pop up and say, here's my next availability kind of thing.
Yeah, like an on-air light, but a little more tightly integrated with the phone system, the calendar, project management. So I can just basically a big do not disturb or please disturb me indication system.
Right.
And I started to do that. And I said, you know what, it'd be pretty cool if I did this online because then they can do it even if they're not in the office. And I said, it'd be even cooler if I could do it for everyone. Why doesn't this system exist for the entire world? Doesn't mean everybody has access to what you're doing, where you're doing. Just, hey, if I'm about to call you, I should probably know if you're busy. I won't waste my time and I won't waste your time. Right. And we started working on that product. And that's when we landed in the wonderful world of meetings, because I see solving your real-time availability is the last mile problem of availability. And then solving your availability in the future, which is calendaring, is actually a slightly easier problem. So I said, how can I take some of these principles of this product that I'm building for real-time availability and move it into the calendaring space? And once I did that, light bulbs went off, but lightning, sparks everywhere. This was it. This is the product that people needed. And we're still going to build the whole stack of availability, but we're starting in calendaring. So what do? We show people, I won't go too deep into the product just yet. We show people instantly when you're free and when the other person is free based off of your preferences, availability, and scheduling behavior. And we don't do calendar sharing. And we do have booking pages, but you don't even need the booking pages. It works directly in line in your email, like autocomplete. You're typing, you say, hey, Penny, let's meet. And you'll see some suggestions that work for both of us. And that is Undock in its first instance there.
That's pretty cool. Well, hold on. I got a whole host of questions, right? So before we go on more about the tool.
Yeah.
Now, part of the problem, so you're the bottleneck. Let's back up a second and talk about like the entrepreneur's challenge, some of your challenges, what it solves and what it doesn't solve, right? Because sometimes people think, oh, there's a tool and it's going to solve all of my problems and make my breakfast. And the truth is it's going to solve a piece of that. So let's ask that. What problem is it not solving that you had? So if you had people out the line, you had telephone calls coming in, what problem was it not yet solving that you still needed to solve?
Yeah. So it's not removing me from being the bottleneck. I'm still the bottleneck. It's just taking that 15, 20, 30, an hour per day of this ambiguity about when they're going to have a chance to meet with me and just removing it from everyone's mind. So we call it the logistical nightmare is just gone. Right. And
so it saves people time. They're not waiting in line for you. They're not waiting on hold for you. Right.
Not sending emails back and forth or pinging me on various Slack channels saying, hey, when can you? That whole when are you free deliberation is minimized severely with Undock, especially when you're talking about something that's later today, tomorrow, a week into the future.
Okay. So let's think about into that. So I need to make a meeting with you. I say, hey, when's a good time? Yep. The system goes away and it doesn't contact you. It just coordinates with your calendar or whatever and comes back and says, unfortunately, Nash isn't available for the next week.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, how do you, if you're that busy, do you have to allocate some specific times and say, these are my open door hours. So fill in time according to this block?
You are perhaps a little bit psychic because that is the next portion of our product that's launching in January. It's kind of an office hours portion scheduling. But here the idea is you have a schedule, right? And you're either going to keep it, which most people in positions like mine just have to do, or you're going to bust it in one way. So if there are slots that work for whoever is trying to meet with me, they can take them. And we prioritize these slots based off of my preferences and schedule. So I'll say I'm willing to take meetings from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's real. All right. I prefer to have my meetings between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. or 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. is what I put on there. Because I like to focus in the morning and I'm not very good conversationally later on in the day. I start to lose my wits.
I hear you.
So what the algorithm will do, it'll find the best suggestion based off of both of your availabilities. Now, if you're both not available at any time overlapping in the week, what we can do, again, with the magic of Undock is I can go in and say, hey, Nash has a meeting with David, who's also in the company today at 2 p.m., but Penny is also free today at 2 p.m. Let me move that internal meeting to another slot, right? Because I know it's internal or a low priority meeting, and then let Penny have her meeting at this time. So it's about and this is the key about our product. It's not a replacement, like calendaring tools, like I won't say the names, but they're like, hey, here's a booking page, like you go do that. Or there's a bot that's like, hey, go talk to my bot and go figure that out. That's not what this is. This is giving you as much information as possible to reduce that back and forth time that you are going or about to partaking with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that you're trying to meet with. So you're always in control of this tool, and it's just surfacing as much powerful data to tell you your likely best bet for this meeting time is tomorrow at 2 p.m. If that doesn't work, there's Thursday at 10 a.m. If that doesn't work, there's Friday at 11.
Right. I like the fact that you're telling me that there's a priority system built in. Like I can go in and I can say, this is low priority, this is high priority. So if it's a client, it's non-movable, right? So that's cool. Like, I think
and we can do that algorithmically before you even make this the hard coded suggestions yourself. So it's very powerful what it can do.
That's very cool. I really like that because that's where the the challenge comes in, right? Is being able to, so what I'm understanding is the calendar tools that you go on and you say, okay, I'm going to book a call with Penny and she has times available at 10 or 11. And they might say if it's a match or not, but it doesn't actually take some action to prioritize and move things around so that that meeting can take place. And that's a huge advantage to you, right? Because otherwise you just wouldn't be available.
Yeah, even with that, the existing pages aren't really dynamic. So if I have a really busy day tomorrow and a really busy day on Wednesday, and I have next to nothing on Thursday, when you land on our booking page, just because I have a 15-minute slot tomorrow, which is my only slot, doesn't mean I want to take that meeting. So it takes those things into account, and it's constantly doing it. And these are the things that you are already doing, or particularly, this is not a replacement for an assistant. It's all the things that assistant is factoring in as well, but they have to keep it all in their mind, or they keep spreadsheets, or they start putting holds and like rules like directly on the calendar. And it's really hard to manage it that way. And that's why we implement really smart AI in our scheduling.
So I'm not 100% sure that I understand. I love that. So this is really the AI that's integrating. So you're saying it doesn't replace the admin assistant or the calendar pages. So are you saying it fits in with them? So you still use them and you use yours too?
You can use them if you'd like. So we have,
but you don't need to.
You don't need to.
Okay.
An administrative assistant, if they're spending 10 hours per week scheduling his or her boss's calendar, they'll probably do it in an hour with that. So that means
they can be freed up to do other more important things as well.
Exactly. So I always, because I think that's where a lot of other applications fell down to, promising that AI is just not there to be that nuanced and understand everything, to be able to remove a human from the loop. And we're not trying to do that. So this is a tool that you can use all the time. And it's a tool that your assistant can use all the time in all scenarios.
So let me go back to, so you talked about, because managing several companies at once, right, gives you, it's one of those things, if you ever want to get something done, you give it to somebody who's busy, right? That whole, because, you've got to be good at managing your time and whatever. And you spoke about 15-minute slots.
Yeah.
So is that the way I'm just picking your brain a little bit. This is called Take Back Time. So we want to hear about your tool, but we also want to hear about some of your time management practices. Are you, I know Elon Musk talks about, and a lot of people talk about in looking at their day in minutes versus in hours. Is that how you approach your day?
It used to be. All right. So even dating back to college, which I don't know why I thought I needed to make a spread. Calendars weren't powerful enough. So I made a spreadsheet for my day and would break it down to blocks. And then I want to know how much time of my day I was devoting to a certain category of activity. And spreadsheets were really good for that. And then my calendar was completely a mess in terms of the quantity of meetings, not in how long it took me to schedule. I haven't thought about scheduling meetings in a year and a half. It's not even, no matter which way they're coming from. If somebody's asking me, or if I'm presenting to someone, somebody sends me, but it doesn't matter. It's I have Undock for that. But right now I'm in the mode, and I had a coach try to, I won't go too deeply into the story, but a coach told me, whatever you're playing.
Try to means it didn't work. So I'm excited.
It did work.
Okay.
It did work. She told me that whatever it is you're trying to do for the quarter, make sure your calendar reflects that and do calendar audits, right? So this quarter, I am heads down in product. So I'm trying to have fewer, better meetings, right? So as soon as I finished fundraising, I just went into Undock and I turned my dials all the way down. So while I was fundraising, I had meetings from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I had Saturday slots, I had Sunday slots. Hey, if an investor wants to meet, I am free, right? I'm past that phase now. So now I turned the dial down, and I kept some of the same windows, but then I blocked out some specific, Monday mornings is game room time. So no meetings Monday morning. Friday afternoons, recap time. I have no meetings Friday after 2 p.m. I took out a little block Wednesday towards the end of the day, and I set my max meetings to 4 hours per day. Now, I don't have to think about this at all, either when I'm using the tool or when somebody else is using the tool to meet with me. All I know is that it'll never suggest a meeting if I already have 4 hours of meetings in that day. And it'll even if I have like 3.5, it'll say, all right, you have 3.5. It's not going to tell me this. It's just going to show me a suggestion for the next day and the next day and the next day. And I can schedule meetings with as many people as I want, which I'm trying to keep it down. And it still keeps it under the 4 hours. So for me, it's so much more about the total volume of time taken away from deep work than it is about whether they're 15-minute, 30-minute, or 60-minute increments. However, my preference is shorter meetings. Most meetings, I'm like, after 15 minutes, we don't need to be here anymore. All right. So,
Parkinson's law, right? I mean, you'll use whatever time is allotted. So
exactly.
If you only 15 minutes for a 30-minute meeting, you probably accomplish what you need to with a lot less jib jab.
Yeah. And there's a lot more in the platform that kind of helps you with that. Like there's meeting agenda, discussion topics, and all those things. So you can power through your meetings. And then when you're done, just move on. But yeah, I do prefer shorter meetings. But in general, right now, I'm on the fewer, better meetings kick. So there's not a day on my calendar with more than 4 hours of meetings.
I think that's an important thing for people who are listening, right? It's about the tool, but it's about the principles that you set. And that's why I asked you about minutes, shorter meetings, fewer meetings, so that you can stay focused on what's most important. I suggest that people go and do a meeting audit and see we have far too many meetings that really don't accomplish anything, or we could accomplish the same thing with a status email to everybody or a quick video to give everyone an update. So I think that is something that we really need to take a look at. And I love the fact that you can say, this is how many meetings, so many hours I'm willing to take away from the other focus work that I need to do. And it kind of takes it out of your head. You don't need to think about it anymore. You've set a rule.
Yep.
Right. I have this thing called gatekeepers, and one of the gatekeepers are the rules that we set. And so that's kind of like a rule that you set, and then you don't have to come back to it. You can let it do its thing, and you can do and focus your time and attention everywhere else. So I really like that.
And the beauty of it is I end up with less than 4 hours of meetings, because if I propose a meeting to someone and we end up taking on another day, so if I propose meetings across 3 days, it's not going to tell me to propose that same time again. So that meeting slot was reserved for someone else.
Right.
And if they chose another day, that's fine. So I'm having less than 4 hours every single day without thinking about it. And this is, I know a CEO's job there to say, just take meetings, but it's also forced me, like, functionally, running the business, to choose and decide, like, I've taken like no meetings from outside party, even from investors, like few and far between. Well, I step out of my zone right now to have a meeting, even with an investor, because it's not my focus for this quarter. So it's been really helpful to have. And I don't even think about it. I just know that I went first week of September, fundraising done, turned the dial down. And since then, I look at my calendar. I'm like, wow, it's light. I love it. I wake up every morning like, all right, I got 6 meetings today. It's cool. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how do you deal with the people who can't get on your calendar?
That's tough, right?
These could be your employees that are like, dude, you're never available. I can't get on your calendar.
Well, most of my meetings are now internal, so they can all get on there. Occasionally they'll say, hey, I couldn't get in for today. I'm not sure if you're actually free or not. And for the most part, I'm like, hey, the calendar is the Bible here. So book it tomorrow. Is it urgent? No? Okay, book it tomorrow.
What if they can't move forward? Like, it sounds like, you were saying you were the bottleneck, right? And this happens and the reason I'm asking you this is because this happens for a lot of entrepreneurs.
100%. Is
their team feels like they can't continue working until they get that answered. So they're there. They were standing outside your door. Yep. Now they're just sitting at their desk and they're kind of like twiddling their thumbs, and they're like, well, I can't meet with them tomorrow, so I'll just play some more, whatever people play today.
I don't know if these games are Minecraft or something, right?
Yeah.
I know that's not the game they're playing. They're playing Among Us. That's what they're playing.
Right. Whatever the game is. I don't know. I'm not a gamer. So, but that could happen, right? So how do you deal with that outside of the tool? The tool has protected your time.
Correct.
So the question is, how do you deal, and what do you put in place to make sure that you're still keeping people happy and getting work done?
It's very important you say that, because a lot of things happen. Number one, they become accustomed to not being able to get time, which is a bad thing, right? And they're just like, oh, well, I'm not. Again, right now at this company, we do not have that problem. I think I can poll my employees, and I'm generally available enough for them, but they can get used to that.
But it happened at one point, right? And it happens for other people.
Yes. I think for me, the hardest part of that was that I know that it's not just an inefficiency for the time. Like the business is going to struggle if everybody's waiting for me to do something or answer something. Then that's just so much momentum that's being lost in that time that it's not happening. And
culturally, they might feel unimportant, right? I mean, it's important that we realize as leaders, right? How could that be impacting our culture, and how do you deal with that? So how did you deal with it at the time that it was a challenge until you got Undock working?
I did not do it. I did not do it very well. And that's just, and some employees would come to you and say like, hey, I feel like I can't get 20 minutes of your time today. I was like, oh no, I was free from 1:10 to 1:30. How come you didn't reach out to me?
Right.
And I mean, I never solved it at the company. I think mainly because I didn't think the velocity of my day was so insane. And I looked at other software applications like, this isn't going to fix it. This isn't going to fix it. This is going to fix it. So I think if there was any solution that I could think of, either procedurally or through software, then I would have done that. Because I am a software. I've used every software app before I ever built something like Undock.
Right.
I think if I thought there was a good way, again, extreme case, like 3 different companies, 3 different conversations, all small companies, no hierarchy, everything up to you, all of this, everything. Right. So that's a very, very extreme case. I don't know how you do that.
Well, so I'm going to throw my coaching hat in the ring here for people who are listening. And maybe you'll say, yeah, that's what I did. Because sometimes we do things and we don't know what we did. True. So the first thing you did is you step back and you recognize that you had a problem.
Yes.
So for those listening, right, and I'm breaking this down just so the people who are listening, you have to recognize first that you have a problem. And you have to understand what are the costs and impact of the problem. So, not just recognizing it and then just allowing it to continue to happen, but when we identify what the costs were, so you saw that this was wasting a lot of time and so forth. And so one of the things is you looked for a solution, right? And it's to problem solve what are different areas. So you saw, hey, I was available. Why didn't you come at that time? Yep. So that matching was super important because then you could at least cover that piece of it to get the matching of time. So that was one way to solve it. The other thing that I think a lot of people forget about as leaders and don't realize how important it is, and you probably did this, but is to have an open discussion with your team and let your team know all together that this is a problem. And, even if you don't have an answer, like I think a lot of people feel like I can't go and talk about it unless I have an answer. But it's perfectly okay. And you can tell me whether you did this or not. Go to the team and say, listen, I'm really sorry. I see that this is a challenge and I'm working on a solution. That lets them know that you recognize it and you're owning it, right? Yep. You want them to own their stuff. So we got to own our stuff. And it helps them to also feel like they matter instead of just pushing it under the carpet and being like, well, tough luck, man. You'll have to meet me next week or find a time anywhere. If we can have these open discussions and say, I know things are insane and I'm trying to work this out, bear with me, that authenticity and openness goes a long way, I found, with people. Did you do that?
I did do that. And I took it a step further. So I was trying to say, we'll have more structured meeting times to answer some questions there. That way you don't have to individually all chase me. And then I took it one step further and I opened the floor and I said, can you also tell me what else I am doing wrong? And, how can I empower you? Where could your skill set be better? This is a few years back. So I'm trying to remember the exact things that I put to the table for me. But that was the first time I had done that. And I don't know how effective it was the first time, but I'm extremely open to feedback and criticism directly from the team. But it's tough to engender that sort of environment where they feel safe to do that, because they're like, well, if I tell you suck at this, then you're gonna fire me or whatever. But I don't think they ever felt that way, because I even pointed out hey, I don't do that. I know I don't do that. I know you really need to do. And they're just like, yeah. Well,
that's how you do it, right? You didn't realize it, but that's how you build that trust. is you let them know, I'm this isn't my forte, right? And so then they feel comfortable when you invite them to share some constructive feedback. They feel comfortable to do that.
Yeah. I still struggled with it throughout until like the last year and change when I was able to start using Undock. It's not a product plug. It's just that I'm just not the most efficient manager of people. Great manager of my own time.
Right.
Other people, I got a lot of work to do.
It's a challenge, right? To add everyone else's time on top of your time. It's hard enough to manage ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I'm super excited. I've not yet used the tool, but I'm super excited to get it installed and get it working for me. Because I think that's a really cool option. And with all the entrepreneurs and CEOs that I work with, I'm definitely going to put it to the test.
It even has the thing you were talking about for, doing your updates or recording little videos instead of having the meetings. You can do all of that right inside of your calendar. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to share about any additional things that are up and coming, something that the AI does that we didn't talk about, or anything else that before we sign off?
It does a lot that we didn't talk about, and most of it's
What's your favorite feature?
However, right now, easily the favorite feature is that, yes, scheduling it and working like autocomplete is fantastic. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to another app. You don't have to go copy and paste or anything. You just keep typing, call Undock, and you'll see your suggestions. You hit tab just like autocomplete. That's great. But my favorite new thing, we actually built it in April and been prototyping a stronger, more powerful version, is that let's say somebody were to say, all right, I'm really flexible. You pick a time. Here's my Undock calendar link or my booking link. All right. You can hover over that. And then without leaving your email, you can just click a time that works for both of you. So that's really cool. But what if that person doesn't have Undock and that person has Calendly or X.AI or HubSpot or Outreach, and they're using all these tools that are tightly built into their workflows or whatever it may be. And they're just like, I'm not going to sit back and forth with you. Here's a link. You can do the same thing with our tool. So our AI is able to understand those calendar links, extract that person's availability, compare it with your availability, preferences, and scheduling behavior, and make a suggestion in one click. All right. So what that does, and it's actually helping the entire ecosystem, it's making it so your calendar can talk to my calendar like that. And there's no debate about, well, you go do the work. No, I'll go do the work. No, let's trade times back and forth. No, let's use a bot. There's none of that. It's just like, here's my calendar automation tool. Here's your calendar automation tool. Here's 3 times that work for all of you.
Right. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited about that.
That's very cool.
Blowing some minds, and it's about to get really, 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 really powerful in January when we launch V2 of the product.
Very cool. Well, Nash, thank you for being here and sharing your tools and some of your challenges. I'm excited for the listeners to get that working and provide some feedback to us.
Yeah, go to undock.com. Very simple, undock.com, and sign up. It's free.
Oh, very cool. So is the tool planning to stay free, or is that going to
everything that I've discussed is free. The way the scheduling works is free. We're trying to get 1 billion users on the platform, so no one ever has to worry about scheduling ever again. But we are releasing a full calendar, which will have some paid features, premium features on that. So, but the scheduling portion and this wildly omnipresent and proliferating scheduling experience will be everywhere and will be free.
Wow. Well, you can't, guys, what are you doing? You better already be on that site.
Yes.
It's free. You've got no reasons, no excuses of why you can't be using this tool right now.
And there's so much more coming. So undock.com, sign up please today.
Awesome. I love how excited you are about it. So, your beaming smile shows that you're really passionate about this and excited to get it out to everybody.
I am. And thank you very much for the time, Penny.
All right. And thank you all for being here. My name is Penny Zenker, and this is Take Back Time. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.